Welcome back. I am joined with my good friend here from Sweden, and he didn't bring me any Swedish chocolates. Shame on you, Matthias. No, just kidding. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. I have all the chocolates here by myself, so.
Oh, okay. Well, smart man. All right. So for this little private chat here, maybe somebody else would join in. I guess everybody's busy this morning, so oh well. Anyway, we'll talk a little about Linux in Sweden, technology in Sweden, and maybe some other fun news. So, Matthias, tell me, is Linux popular in Sweden?
Uh, it's a good question.
Fair, okay.
Yeah, well, the most information you find about Linux is in English. So, and the English forums or American. But there are some. It's had gained traction, it has.
Okay.
But, yeah, in schools, you have Chromebooks, of course.
Yes.
So, but it's not considered Linux as such. It's Google, and people refer it as such. So they don't know what's on or under the tech. But it works
So,
well, and many schools are investing heavily in Chromebooks.
okay. So,
It's either that or Macs.
okay. So
More or
when
less.
people buy a Chromebook or the schools, they're not saying, "Hey, that's Gen 2 built." I'm not going to. They're just buying it, using it because it just works. That's
Yeah,
why, right?
yeah, and we use G Suite and so on for.
Okay. Now, how long? Okay. Okay. Now, which Linux do you use? You were saying
I'm on Linux Mint.
since when?
I've been using Mint since about 2013.
Okay. And what made you choose Mint?
Uh, I stopped using Windows about 2008, and
Oh.
yeah, and I liked I liked XP and Windows 2000 and that
Okay.
UI, and Cinnamon has a very similar experience. So, and
Okay.
it just works. It's stable. That's what I want. And as it's Ubuntu based, there are also a lot of programs,
Yes.
and easy to find guides and tutorials.
Okay. Now, I did notice your shirt. Can you show that real quick there?
Yeah, Linux is everywhere. From
Linux is everywhere. Nice. I like that. That's true. It's on all the supercomputers. It's in a lot of cars. It's in a lot of tablets, phones, GPS, your home. People don't know that.
yeah,
It just hasn't exploded yet on the desktop. I mean, I guess we talked about this the other night, last night, but Chromebooks could be considered here in the States, I suppose, a national Linux, not a desktop, but a laptop, you know. But do any of your friends use any form of Linux computer, or is it Mac or Windows?
uh, most of my friends I have converted to Linux, but
Wow.
they are what you consider not that
Techie.
techy.
Okay.
But the amount of support calls has just
Okay.
so
Well,
it
that's
just
good.
works.
It just
Uh,
okay.
yeah, the only time is when an update may have gone wrong or the physical hardware has broken down. They call, and then I come out and fix. You install. In this case, I use Mint, and you give them
hmm
Firefox or Chrome, and
hmm
everything just works. The most are done in a web browser today, banking and email and so on. So they don't really notice. Just the icons are there; they can click. They
Yeah.
know what to do. I show them how to update. Uh,
Okay.
yeah.
Now, how long have they been using Linux?
Uh, the first one I converted about 6 years ago, I think.
Wow.
And,
Nice.
yeah,
Wow. Looks like Sweden may get the first national Linux desktop before we do in the States. You know,
uh,
we had talked about it here about what will we call a national Linux desktop in the States, at what price, you know, what we call it. I think we agreed on something called Andromeda OS, One OS. Total OS. No, I'm just kidding. But
That would be nice.
you know, but I like Andromeda. It sounds very Star Trekky for
Yeah.
for a computer. Honestly, the name probably is not that big of a deal. But if there was to be a national Linux desktop, it has to be something where people can see it live, a demonstration. Whatever. I don't know what stores you here in the States. We have Walmart's, Best Buy. Do you have Walmart's there in Sweden?
No, not
Okay.
as such. There are some electronic stores and so on, but
Okay.
I would guess if you would demo two machines,
Hmm.
Windows, and Mac, and one with a Linux desktop, uh, people, I think the most of them would know instinctively how to manage it.
Yes.
So
Right. You have two
also,
machines, one Windows and one Linux. This is the update process here. This is the update process in Linux. This is how you install. It's not that scary once you show it to them live.
there has been a big transition from Windows to Mac
Yeah.
OS, and people obviously could handle that.
Yeah.
So, and they are totally different in UI and how they work.
Yeah, well, you can make Linux look somewhat like Windows. I think Zorn OS over the years has done a pretty good job. So in terms of customizing Linux, of course, that's not a problem. It's just a matter of getting it out there to the stores at a price point, and we agreed that the sweet spot is $400. Give or take. Give them a 30-day money-back guarantee. If it's not for you, bring it back. No problem. But if you give them the choice, show them the choice, I think that would sell. And I think what's happening with Windows 10, a lot of people have been somewhat, what's the word, disappointed with the update process and their rebooting and the privacy and all that. And there was no need for that, but that's their business model, so that's the way it is. But if you explain to people what really is going on between Windows 10 and potential other choices, I think they would buy them. That's why Chromebooks are selling. Number one, they just work.
Yeah,
The price is right. Most Chromebooks start at what, $200 and up, right? I think the Pixel Book is their top of the line. Now you could install Android apps on that and Debian or Ubuntu apps on the Pixel Books. You're paying for one computer, but you get three systems: Chrome OS, Android, and Debian apps or Ubuntu apps, I think, right? That's not a
and
bad deal. Yeah.
and they just works more or less integrated and seamless.
Right.
Very important.
Right.
That's why
Yes.
NAS and flatpaks have been a success, and as PPAs, as they work on all the Ubuntu platform and
Right.
Debian.
Right.
No, not Debian. They have a Debian package.
I know what you mean. Yeah, yeah. They but the masses, the mom and pops, they don't know that. They're just people probably use just Windows most of their life or all of their lives. It worked, even though they got tired of the headaches with the rebooting and the telemetry and all that. If they were even told about the
But they don't
issue.
know there are options.
Right. And if you need to tell them, but you need that they need to touch it, feel it, touch the keyboard, look at it. Oh, so that kind of looks like Windows, or what's that called, Ubuntu or whatever.
you
Oh,
have
well that
that
well I know Firefox, I know Chrome. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And you have the branding. They know that if you're going to write something, I need to have Microsoft Office. They could have done it in a simple text editor, but it's not good enough. You need to have Office, and that's what the big hurdle is to get people to jump ships. You have the big software, like when computers were new. You have had your killer app. You had Lotus 123. That was the go-to Office suite from the start, before Microsoft came, and they had a big hurdle to overcome to take the number one spot.
Right. Right.
So
I think also if people were told that you realize that you already probably are using Linux, there's Linux probably software in your car. You know what I mean? You have a smart TV or a smart toilet. It's probably running some kind of Linux software. I won't go there.
It's
Uh,
rough actually. It's yeah.
it's the internet. The space station uses Linux. Who knows? Maybe the traffic
Well,
lights
you
are
don't want a forced reboot in space.
Yeah, yeah, right.
That would be a disaster.
Yeah, right.
It's update time. Uh,
So anyway, people probably don't realize that Linux is already everywhere. It just hasn't exploded on the Linux desktop. It's what, a 2%, which is really pitiful, considering the headaches people have had with Windows 10. But that can be changed, But I think we need a company like Google, Amazon, somebody with the resources, to, buy, test the machines, make the machines, test them, hire the right people, have a commercial, have the right voice. I could be the voice of Linux. Thank you for calling Ubuntu Linux call center. How may I direct your call? Sounds friendly to me. You have a New Yorker. Oh, hey, what's your problem? You got to turn it on, dum dum. No, just kidding. But
have it right turns it off and on again.
you know, but I think the time for Linux desktop came last year before, when this thing with Windows 10 and the forced upgrades started giving people headaches. I think the Linux desktop has missed a golden opportunity, but maybe it's not too late. I don't know.
No, I don't think so. And when they jump ship then and still are, they go to the second biggest, and in this case it's Mac and Mac OS.
Is that the same situation there in Sweden?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you mention Linux, do they go or do they know what it is?
No, most have no idea.
Really? Okay. All right. So unless they've bought a Chromebook or see this or something on YouTube, they have no idea.
Yeah.
Wow. Do they even know that Linux is in TVs, a space station, and cars, or not really?
No.
Okay. So they really have no idea. Okay. All right. Well, there you go, folks. There's the potential for the Linux desktop.
And by all means and all right, why do they need what's running the tech?
Yeah.
All they need is a user interface that works
Yeah.
and it's stable. And what more should you really need to know if you're not into tech and likes to
Right.
know what's working or not?
Right. I mean, most people who don't do videos or editing need to check their emails, go on, surf the web, you know what I mean, log into their whatever pieces of software, specific software apps that they use. They want to do it quickly without any issues. And Linux can certainly do that. Now, if you need specific software for Windows that's not available in Linux, I can certainly understand that. But that's not the majority of the population. So most mom and pops check their email, play a video, music, check their photos that somebody sent from Sweden or whatever,
That's why Chromebooks are working, because everything they need to do works on a Chromebook.
Right. There's no surprises. There's no figuring out a puzzle. Or how do I do this? How do I fix that? And I think they will continue to sell, but I'm just wondering just how many people realize that Chromebooks is a Linux machine. The Pixelbook has been described as flawless. That says a lot for a Linux machine, considering all the potential for bugs and things that don't, break, and graphics drivers and this and that and printers. That says a lot, for any kind of machine to be called flawless.
But on a Chromebook you have somewhat like Apple, you have a fixed set of hardware, and if you have that, then it's easy to get good drivers and things that are stable and just works.
Because that is a standardized system of quality.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Nothing more, nothing less. And that's why it works. Mac is the same way. They have a standardized system of their quality control apps, and that's what it is. If you don't like it, then go to something else.
And that's one of Microsoft's Windows downfalls is fragmented market. There are thousands or millions of possible combinations of hardware that should work together, and that's gonna get buggy. This, uh,
I I don't know if I have any Linux predictions for this year, but it would be great to see a national, or at least an announcement of a national Linux desktop. I don't know. I don't see it. I think Google's going to be
I don't
happy
know.
with their Chrome sales. They're just going to keep that the way. And now Amazon may want to get into the game, because it would be something new and different. You know, if they tried it with their Amazon, was it the Fire Phone or something a few years back? It didn't work out. But I think they're thinking about this computer, national computer thing, and they're probably thinking, why not? You know, they got the resources to build a factory, build a facility, hire the people, test it, promote it. They
But the
can do it.
question is, do we really need a uniform desktop? As,
I think for Linux you need it because it's worked well for Chromebooks. That standardization of
you
quality. I
need a
think.
good backend, and you need a uniform platform for the software, how to install it, and so on. And there are good options.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think for the first Linux machine, yes, because I think that would sell, be a big hit. Then after that, if you want to branch off into other things, but just to let the people know this is the potential of Linux. It's not all bugs. It's not all, why can't I get my printer to work, or why can't I play the games I want. It wouldn't be that way with a standard desktop, you know, and it wouldn't have to cost you $1,000 or $2,000, you know.
Gaming is one of the main reasons people are switching. The gamers, they don't care what's OS they run. They want the games to work, and gamers is a big market. And as gamers are usually younger, or those that are tech savvy, and they tell all others what to use. And
Okay.
of course, I use Linux. I tell my friends to use Linux. And if I have used Windows, I have said,
Yeah.
oh, you should use Windows. And when I had a Mac, I said, yeah, if you can afford, of course, you buy a Mac.
So
It's nothing strange. You tell others around you what to get. And if there is an ecosystem that does what you want, in this case, for me, I can do everything I want in Linux. So, of course, I tell others, get Linux.
So people in Sweden would be open to at least looking at a new Linux machine or a new machine if they could see it in the store.
Yeah.
You would think they would be perfectly happy to take your advice or advice of a neighbor. Hey, take a look at this. Money back guarantee if you don't like it. It's not that hard to learn. You think the people there where you live would have no problem?
No problem at all. If you have a Steam machine or something like that, that would work, they buy it.
What's more popular in Sweden? Would you say Windows or Mac products? About the same.
I would say if people were free to choose, if money wasn't the option, they go all in on Mac.
But the reality is, what are they buying? Based on what you see, they're buying Windows.
$300-400 computers and
$400. See, even in Sweden, that's the sweet spot, and I did not know that until now. You know, last year I've been saying for $400 sweet spot in America, and there it is in Sweden.
Yeah,
right.
It's gamers and the tech savvy that buys higher end.
That makes sense. So when you walk into a Swedish computer store, is it like 90% Windows and 10% Macs, or not really? When you walk for your choice.
I would say in almost every big electronic chain, they have a section for Macs now.
Okay.
If you went 8 years back, you couldn't find a Mac if you were looking for it.
Are there many Apple stores?
Yeah, there are private resellers.
Oh, private. Not an actual corporate store. That's what I mean.
No.
Apple.
There we have 3 or 4 in Sweden in total.
Okay. You have some. Okay. Yeah, the closest one where I live is in the city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, here in the States. It's about 40 minutes away, and it's in a mall. And on the weekends, that store is an absolute zoo. I mean, people coming in and out. I mean, last year, one of my friends needed help with her MacBook. And well, I can help you out. Oh no, she says I bought this and I bought the extended warranty for 3 years. And I said, well, as long as you're paying for the service, you might as well go to the Apple store, right? So we went there on a Saturday. We got there before 12 o'clock. The nice gentleman came up. I explained the situation. He says, okay, well, did you have an appointment? I forgot to make an appointment. He says there was about a 2-hour wait or more.
Oh, okay.
So my friend, she says, I can't go back home. I'm leaving for Austria Monday or Tuesday. This was Saturday. I got to have this taken care of to sync all my iPhone and the photos. I said, not a problem. Put my name on the list. We went out to get lunch in the mall. We took our time, and it was about 2 hours later, came back, went back inside the Apple store. I sat down with a young gentleman and my friend, and she was talking to this guy, and they were talking how to fix this and do this, do that. So I just sat there listening, and I got the impression that I told Amy, my friend, I said, you know what, this guy knows what he's talking about. I think I'll just leave and take a walk just to get out of the way, because sometimes it's faster just to, one person to one person and let the third person leave, and not to expand the conversation and be there till like 9 o'clock at night, So I left. I went for a walk around the mall, upstairs, downstairs. Came back later. Anyway, to make a long story short, we got there 11:45 at the mall. We were done by 6 p.m. Then we went to have dinner, and that was it. But I will say this about Apple, at least in that store, the service was superb. They were friendly. They were patient. They answered all your questions. A super clean store. I don't have a Mac. I have an iPad Mini 2 iPad, which is outdated. But in terms of the service, the stores, I know where they put their money at, and it does look pretty nice. I will say that. And it's probably the same there in Sweden, right? Nice looking Apple stores.
Yeah, if you're in the official, and their private resellers.
Both stores are not. Well, they probably have a contract with Apple to have a certain look, a certain. Okay, all right, that makes sense.
The problem is if you have a couple of years old tech, they won't touch it.
Oh, okay, really? Okay. Well, I guess if it's outdated, why should they?
Yeah, but 3 to 5 years in tech today, the machines are so powerful they aren't outdated.
Yeah, and you can't upgrade the RAM in those. It's all locked down hardware. That's the downside.
Yeah, and that got me, except for the price.
Well, I think right.
Apple tray.
Right. But I think with I guess with a lot of Apple customers, they don't care. They'll just buy the next product, next Apple product.
They don't need to upgrade, and most users never do. Even if they get the PC, they buy it for $400 if you get the number, and they have it till it breaks. Then they buy a new one.
Well, that's one of the advantages.
They do. Then there are special needs. They get the kid wants the game, then you might start to upgrade.
Okay.
But for the normal folks, no way, never.
That's one of the advantages of a Windows PC. I can upgrade the RAM, change the hard drive to an SSD. It's more the box. The hardware is more user friendly.
Yeah, the hardware is open source, if you want to call it. You can do whatever you want.
You can literally open the box.
Yeah.
Open box, as it were. No, I totally get it, but most mom and pop or people who are too busy with their lives are not going to upgrade their RAM or fix it. If it's outdated or if it breaks, they'll just buy a new machine and move on. That's not that bad either, because you're always getting a new, fresh machine with the latest technology. There's pros and cons to that. But Apple has done well, with their marketing scheme, and people are buying the machines. So
Yeah, and they have the ecosystem. They have
Yeah,
tied it well together, and
yeah.
that is why the people have trouble leaving it. Like if you're in the Google sphere,
Mm.
you have Gmail and you have yeah. Now you
No, no, I understand. If it ain't broken, why fix it?
know, but
So,
if you have all the eggs in one basket, it's
mm,
difficult to leave.
yeah, yes, I would have to agree. It's hard to keep an open mind when you've been locked in for years, and that's why I'm glad I got started with Linux back in 2006 out of curiosity, and here I am. But
And,
I had an open mind. I
and that's
figured,
why
well,
people are still on Facebook. There can come thousands of good alternatives, but Facebook have the traction. They have the masses.
is Facebook popular in Sweden?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Well, maybe not. Uh,
maybe not for longer.
well, the kids don't use it.
They don't.
No,
Oh,
they use Snapchat and whatever. They want the
uh,
communication, and they don't want to be there where their parents are.
uh,
No
oh,
kids want to be
oh.
where their parents are.
That actually makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay,
my
okay.
generation and older, many are on Facebook,
Yeah.
but those that are 10,
Okay.
12 years old today,
Makes
no
sense.
way.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I never really thought about it that way, but and what's that other popular WhatsApp? I think it's called WhatsApp. I think something like that.
Yeah,
I think that's what they call it, WhatsApp. Hey, what's that? Hey, no, but I never thought about that. Facebook not as popular there
the kids,
because you know,
the younger ones, they use Instagram
it
and
makes sense. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
some software for chats.
Yeah.
Uh, they use whatever the friends use. So
You know,
it's
it's funny. I had a friend of mine send me an Instagram this morning. I don't know where he got it, but it looked like 4 or 5 girls in bikinis playing in the snow, and I'm like, no, I think I'd rather be in Palm Beach, Florida. You know, but anyway, I can certainly see that now that you explained it. As far as Facebook in Sweden, that sounds like a movie. Facebook in Sweden, starring Tom Cruise. Now I don't know.
well,
Anyway,
they have a big data center here.
oh, they do. Oh, okay. That's why the kids don't trust it. Hey, that's a Facebook data center. Look out. Um, all right. Why don't we, Matthias? Why don't we finish up with some news here? Let me see what we can pick up. Well, we were talking about Apple. It says here China retailers slash iPhone prices after Apple sales warning. So are people there complaining about the prices of iPhones too, as we are here?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they cost very much. I use several, what's it, iPhone 5S, and it just works. So I just keep using it.
5S, the iPhone 5S you use? Okay, cool. Hey, Joey's in the house. Hey, just as I'm ending
There
this.
you go.
Better late than never. You said 10 o'clock, and I'm thinking, okay. And now I saw the link. It said 8:48 my time. I go, wait a minute, he's an hour ahead. Better late than never.
Yeah.
I didn't know
I
if
did
this would be on.
I did say 10 a.m. my time last, and he said okay. So not my
But
fault.
right, that's my. I apologize.
No problem.
Right over this nice.
No, yeah, right. No. We were talking about Linux and technology in Sweden. But you can replay this. I got this recording on YouTube, unlisted for this private chat. But I'll make it public. We're not hiding any secrets here from Sweden, right, Matthias?
I apologize. Right over my. There's so many people we follow, so many time zones. You think
I know.
used to it by now, knowing who's where, but it just didn't happen.
Yeah, I know. No, I got an email. Steve couldn't make it, and Sleepy from Australia couldn't make it. But that's okay.
Sleepy was tired.
He was tired. Yeah, that's why Sleepy. Haha.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, we were talking about Facebook is not that popular in Sweden. I won't give it away. You'll have to watch the replay, Joe.
Oh,
Why it's not? But it makes sense when you explain it. It makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. No, I just said China retailers slash iPhone prices after Apple's sales warning. We were just talking about the prices of iPhones are gone too high, and there's a pushback from the consumer. So
But on the other hand, if you look at Samsung and HTC, they're also very expensive phones. If you look at the better models, they are just as expensive as an iPhone. So I don't know.
They
I
wouldn't
don't
go
see the
as high as
difference.
they are, I believe, if people weren't willing to just pay for them. And I'm just as guilty of that. I would have never paid what I paid for this, but again, that's why you either pay for it outright or you finance it and work with somebody else's money. It's whether you can afford it or not. It's always a smarter thing to finance if it's not costing you any interest and things like that. You're going to have the phone probably for a couple of years anyway. But it is getting to the point where it's like it's not only not affordable, but it's. I know there's small computers and all that stuff, but I think they were pushing the envelope. It's just like gas prices to see how far they can go before people push back. I think people should have pushed back long ago, and you would have seen these things hold the line. So,
but the reason they could have been able to keep climbing in price is that you can get a contract with your phone company and get it subsidized.
yeah.
So you have a more you pay every month a couple of.
I'm happy with my Motorola because the battery life, and this is only $200. It's got more power, I think, or more longevity on the battery per charge than anything else out there. Well, almost anything else out there.
Yeah. Every time I glare at something else than iPhones, it's the Motorola, and it's because it's the most pure variant of Android you can get.
Yeah, they're coming out with a new phone with a 48 megapixel camera soon. Yeah, that looks pretty impressive.
You don't get all that crap that Samsung and others are bundling.
Right. It's a little bit more of a pure Android, sort of. I just got an update this morning, security update from Motorola.
You could get more bare metal with the system and the hardware than with the Motorola.
But here's the other thing too: is the society as a whole, and this is not just now. This has been not forever, but for quite some time. That it's a buy now, pay later society, and in order to get these devices into the hands of the youth today, because they're all about this stuff, this is what they do. I mean, I'm fortunate enough where I could just go in and buy these things outright, but I also look at things like a business. So if you can work with somebody else's money that isn't going to cost you anything, why bother? I'm going to have it for a couple of years anyway. If I decide I don't want it, I pay the contract off and I go on to the next one. Kids or the younger, generation, they can't do that. They all want to have the latest gadgets and all this stuff. And the other thing that bothers me, I think, where Apple's concerned, not only just for their phones but any device, is they're usually old architecture that you're paying the same prices for. Especially from their iMacs and things like that. They're 3, 4. Or older year-old architecture, and you're still paying today's top and higher prices for it.
Yeah. So here's another headline here from Forbes. It says, massive iPhone price cuts, Tim Cook's big problems.
Yeah.
It's like you said, Joe, I think consumers have reached a point, okay, enough is enough. We're not going to pay that much for a phone. No.
Right.
They have released cheaper versions of iPhones, but they don't sell. People buy the more expensive ones anyway.
Some people do.
Yeah,
well,
not everybody.
If you have an iPhone, you can buy an SE, or you can buy what we call it, XL, or
they got different. It's almost like buying a car. The S, the SE, the SLE, the PPP, the SR. I mean, it gets ridiculous after a while. One thing we didn't talk about. Yeah.
If I should buy a car, if I should buy a Mercedes, of course, I could buy a cheaper Mercedes, or I can. But if I'm gonna shell out the money, I'd rather buy a nicer Mercedes.
I understand, but I can't ride my iPhone. Yeah.
You can put it where the sun don't shine.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But would you want to? I guess.
Yeah, right. So, anyway, but one thing we didn't talk about, maybe in the next show, the pure Linux cell phone. We haven't seen that yet. I don't see that happening soon. I know there's a Librem phones they're testing and funding. You know what? Again, that's another thing for a big company like Amazon, if they want to do it. I think they tried it once with I think it was called the Fire Phone. We mentioned briefly, but I don't see it happening. So, you know, I think for Android we got Motorola, the Google Pixel, for more of a pure Android experience. But in terms of a pure Linux phone, I just don't see. I know there's been talks, like I said, but I don't see that either. Just
for tech kids like me, we like open source, and iOS and Apple's phones are not open source.
No.
But on the other hand, you have Android, and you have all the massive spying and the malware, and you have different programs that collecting data that they shouldn't be allowed to, and it's a can of worms on that side too. So I rather buy an iPhone, and most of my data stays with Apple and don't leave. And that
it would appear,
works,
yeah, it
right?
would appear, right? Yeah.
Money too,
Yeah.
so.
No, one of my friends, he had an Android phone once, didn't want it. He went back to Apple because he felt with iPhones, he felt a little bit more secure. But that's the trade-off. Now you're locked in.
Yeah.
I won't buy an iPhone or another iPad because I can't sync it to my Linux. I'm a big fan of plug and play. Just plug it in, boom, it pops up, ready to go.
I haven't synced my phone for years. I'm on
Okay.
Linux. I can't.
You can on one distro that I know of, and that's MX.
Really?
Yes, because this was back in 2017. I plugged it in. They've got a piece of software, a sync option in there where you can actually plug your phone in and recognize it, and you can access the files. It's
No kidding.
the only distro that I know of that does that.
MX, interesting. Okay.
So I'm assuming obviously it's still an 18 as well, because I did try that. So
well, my iPad Mini 2 is so outdated. I can't download YouTube on it or other apps because it won't. So I don't really care anymore. But I didn't know that. Well, folks, there you go. If you're going to buy an iPhone and want to run Linux, check out MX 17 and maybe MX 18. I didn't know. Well, that's wonderful. You just plug it in and boom, it syncs up.
Well, you plug it in. I think there's an initial brief couple of quick setup, basically, to phone and whatever, and then you're done. And then it does it after that. It'll via Bluetooth or whatever, or you can plug it in, like I said, in your car, what do they call the cord. So
I got to use Windows to sync my Microsoft Zoom player, which still works after all these years. I tried it in Linux, can't do it. You know,
typically, what I do if I need to get something into the computer, I just upload it to, which I don't care for Dropbox, but I'll upload something. You know, usually it's just photos that I'm taking for listing on my eBay store or whatever. Upload it to Dropbox, transfer them over to a file, and then just delete it. You know, or you could use I hate to say it, but Google Drive or something like that. So if you have some kind of a cloud storage where you can just you know, something that's not vital information, just something you want to upload temporarily and then transfer it off, you know, that's one means of doing it, but it's still, it's an inconvenience.
Yeah.
You know, so, and if, you know, with Dolphin, you know, having that in the MX, it's like, boy, it'd be nice if somebody else, you know, kind of like Peppermint's Ice, you know, so if they start integrating these in different distros, it'd be great.
I have one last question for both of you guys. What would you rather have? Say someone was gonna buy you a gift, no charge. They're gonna buy this. What you pick one, a Chromebook or an iPad. Pick one, Joe.
Chromebook, without a doubt.
Matthias. Be honest.
I would go with iPad.
Fair enough. It would be close for me. I'd go with the Chromebook, with the Pixelbook, because that doubles from a laptop to a tablet. Okay, you're not locked in, which I know you prefer that because of more security, and that's fine.
Yeah. I am invested in the ecosystem. I have apps that I paid for, games, and you know, you have already invested in it.
Let me rephrase my question. Say you were not invested in any ecosystem. What would you get? Or would it matter?
Yeah, I would go with security, and in this case, it's
iPad.
iOS.
Okay, fair enough. Now there's nothing wrong with that. I'd still go with the Chrome, because again, we talked about this. You get Chrome OS, Android, and now the Linux app. 3 for the price of 1. There you go. But that's just me. But I'm a tinkerer. For the mom and pop, They're not, so they probably go with the iPad. So there you go.
Well, and the thing about the Apple, I've got an iPad here, and we've all of my whole family now has iPhones, but it's not because some of them love Apple.
Yeah, yeah.
To me, I have it more because of there's things like FaceTime. My dad's 86 years old.
Okay.
He started a year or so ago, maybe a couple years ago at most. He bought a used iPad. It was giving him trouble. We bought him one for Christmas, only because FaceTime the great grandchildren. Not that there's aren't other apps out there, but FaceTime works exceptionally well with that kind of thing. And especially in his, he's in a mobile home community, so you got everything is broken signals, things like that. Never have a glitch like that where we've had with Hangouts or things like that.
Yeah.
So for that reason and some certain features, it's just like using Windows because you need certain software. It's the same thing. That's the only reason why I'm kind of stayed on it. So, but even at that, I still, because of the basis, and yet Apple or Mac is based on Unix, but right now I'm favoring Chromebook because I want to start getting away from Apple anyway, and like you said, you're getting more in that way, I think.
Well, because I have multiple Android phones and I can sync my phone to the Chromebook. I'm assuming I can just like that, right? I would imagine, So for me, the ecosystem is Android. For Matthias, it's the other one, and that's perfectly understandable.
Yeah.
Oh, well, speaking of FaceTime, I'm done with this FaceTime and your two faces, so I want to go start my day here. It's almost 11. I'm probably going to do lunch. So it's evening for you there in Sweden?
Yeah, it's soon 5 o'clock.
Okay, all right.
Dark outside now. So.
Right, okay. Well, I wanted to thank, of course, Matthias for being a co-host and Joe for coming in way too late. But of course, you can replay this on YouTube. This was fun. We'll do it again. If anybody would like to join us on a private chat, I do these every so often. You can join us through Patreon or PayPal on Patreon. Just search TOS Today, and you're welcome to join in and talk about technology.
Eastern time. His time is almost 4 o'clock. Hello, yeah, 10.
Who? My time right now is 10:54.
Joe.
Oh, Joe. Okay, yeah.
No, I'm an hour behind Carmine.
Okay, yeah. Joe's in Chicago.
9:54 a.m. where I'm at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you said you should start 10 a.m. So he is on time.
On his time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, he's on the wrong time. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
I know at all these times, it's hard to keep everybody, on the same page.
Well, I plugged it into my phone last night as soon as we talked about it to see if I could.
I always have to check, but I know it's usually around 6 hours.
Yeah, well, that's why sometimes when I'll send an email, it's going to be like, 10 a.m. New York time. So you know exactly what I mean. What's Central Time? What's the New York time? So when you search it on Google for the time, where no matter what New York time is based on where you're at. Yeah. I think it makes more sense. Or maybe not. I don't know.
Well, you and I are like right here on the line.
I know.
Because depending on where you go, you could go a little bit south and slightly west.
I know.
And
right.
Isn't your area kind of split, like where you've got? Yeah.
Well, yeah. It's just where we live. It's one of those things. I think there's one city that doesn't change their time at all.
Well, it's Phoenix is one of them. There's a few of them. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, Phoenix is one.
They are the smart ones.
They are, I guess. I know. Yeah, they are. Gee, must be the heat there. They just think one way. No, just kidding. But anyway, that's all I have for this one. I wanted to thank Joe and Matthias again for joining me on this private chat. So wherever you live, enjoy your technology, whatever you use. Check out the links below in the show notes if you want to join us in the next private chat. If you would like to sponsor a live show, family friendly, just send me an email at totalOStoday1@gmail.com, and we can make it a private show if you wish. Just let me know and we'll work it out. That's all I have for this one, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.
Same.